and Courageous. I'm your host, Demetris, and today I'll be speaking about rappers and politics. So, hip hop is a very big genre that was created back in the 80s, and the purpose of hip hop and rap was to speak out about the system and how rigged it is, but also society issues and political issues that has affected the black community. So I'm going to get into rappers that are involved in politics and where do some rappers stand when it comes to the Republican and the Democratic Party. So I'm going to get into the Democratic Party at first. Some rappers that have got involved on the Democratic side, and then I'm going to get into rappers that support Trump. Now, however, Biden did drop out of the election, but there are some rappers that still supported him, and also Kamala Harris. So one rapper is Fat Joe that advocate for affordable health care, and he also took part in a march panel with Kamala Harris about decriminalizing marijuana. Queen Latifah and Lizzo also are two women that have supported Joe Biden by performing at a New York City fundraiser for the Biden and Kamala Harris campaign. Now, back in 2020, Offset, who's a member of the Amigos and Common, performed at an Atlanta campaign rally for Joe Biden. Like I said earlier, Joe Biden did drop out of the election. So since Kamala Harris has joined in, Kamala Harris has been getting a whole lot more endorsements. And also Quavo, who also was a member of the Migos, has endorsed Kamala Harris. Quavo was in Atlanta for a summit center around gun violence prevention. He was also at one of Kamala Harris' rallies, and he made a speech, and what he said was, if you never voted before, make sure you get out and vote right now, because this is the real one. And he also told the crowd, before paying tribute to his late nephew, he said, and in the words of my brother Takeoff, let me get a Kamala. Megan Thee Stallion also endorsed Kamala Harris, but not only did she endorse her, she also performed at a rally in Atlanta. Also, Little John made an appearance of the DNC on the second night, where he performed his song Turn Down for What. Another rapper is Lil Nas X, who supports Kamala Harris. The day after Joe Biden dropped out of the election, Lil Nas X decided to post on Twitter, also known as X now, said, your seat is ready, Madam President. He also said, lock in little bro. I want to get into the rappers who support Donald Trump. One rapper whose name is Sada Baby, who is from Detroit, decided to go to a church that was in Detroit and encourage people to go and vote for Donald Trump. New York City rappers Chef G and Sleepy Hollow spoke at a Trump rally in New York Bronx. Both of them were indicted on murder conspiracy charges back in May of 2023. Also, rappers such as PZ and Icewear Vessel attended Donald Trump's roundtable with local black community leaders. Sexy Red is another rapper that also is supporting Donald Trump, and the reason is because of the COVID-19 stimulus checks. Back in October of 2023, she was on a podcast and she said, once he started getting black people out of jail and giving people that free money, baby, we love Trump. We need him back because baby, them check. Another rapper who supports Trump is Lil Pump. Lil Pump back in 2020 in Michigan went to one of Trump rallies. Also, Ice Cube was an advisor back in 2020 to Trump on a proposal to help black people in America. Kanye West is also a big one who has endorsed Trump, but also Kanye West dined in with Donald Trump and white nationalist Nick Fuentes. I'm going to get a little bit into Nick Fuentes, and then I will go back into the rappers. But just in case anybody don't know who he is, I want to speak on this because Kanye West did dine in with this guy and Donald Trump. So Nick Fuentes is a white supremacist and a anti-Semitic leader. He has been placed into the state political spotlight after he was hosted by the president of an influential group that has donated millions of dollars to top Texas Republican officials. Nick Fuentes is known for being a YouTuber, but it was banned from YouTube after he was posting so many hate speeches. So here are a few things he did. One of them, he praised Adolf Hitler. He also called for a holy war against Jews and compared the 6 million Jews that were killed by the Nazis to cookies being baked in an oven. He also wants the U.S. government under authoritarian Catholic Taliban rule. He also has been very outspoken about his disgust for women, Muslims, the LGBTQ plus community, and others. He made a statement last year saying, "All I want is revenge against my enemies," and a total Aryan victory. So just in case anybody don't know what Aryan is, I'm about to describe it. So it's a Nazi ideology. A white non-Jewish person, especially one of Northern European origin, typically having blue eyes, blonde hair, and belongs to supposedly a superior racial group. And one of the other things is that he's really got known for is speaking a lot about the 2020 presidential election. He was a big key factor in the Stop the Steal movement, pairing his baseless claims about a stolen election with white supremacist conspiracy theories and claiming that there is a intentional Jewish-driven effort to replace white people through immigration, interracial marriage, and the LGBTQ plus community. And also 2 days before the January 6th Capitol riot, Nick Fuentes suggested killing legislators who were unwilling to overturn the election results. On the day of the Capitol riot, he told his followers that they must be prepared to take this country back by force. The last rapper that supports Donald Trump is DaBaby. Now there are a few rappers that are undecided. 50 Cent is one of them. He told CBS News he was unsure of who he was going to vote for this time. Now, however, back in 2020, he decided to switch his support from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. Cardi B is another one. Back in 2020, she supported Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden in the general election. Now, however, she did say she won't vote due to the disappointment with the economy. There are more rappers that are very upset on how the Biden administration has responded to Israeli strikes in Gaza. Now, the Biden administration officials have supported sending more military aid to Israel, but also been working towards a ceasefire in Gaza. According to a CBS News exit polls, Trump won 8% of black support back in 2016 and 12% in 2020 among younger voters that are between the ages of 18 and 29 years old. Now, however, Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden still had majority of black voter support. Hillary Clinton had 55% and Joe Biden had 60%. There are a lot of black people out there that are voting for Trump, and when they were asked why they were voting for him, a lot of black people had to say, one, money, he's a good businessman, he put money into our pocket, the stimulus check, he helped black people get jobs. So what I'm going to get into now, I'm going to get into a fact check about Donald Trump and what he has done for the black community. Now, one thing Donald Trump says, and he says this a lot, is that he is one of the best presidents since Lincoln for black people in America. A lot of people know Abraham Lincoln as the one who signed the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing enslaved black people in the Confederacy and clearing the way for the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery across America. But this is so untrue because Ulysses S. Grant, who was the 18th president, who created the Department of Justice and pushed for the prosecution of the Ku Klux Klan. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was the 32nd president, Justice Department pushed for poll tax repeal. Harry S. Truman, who was the 33rd president, desegregated the military. Lyndon B. Johnson, who was the 36th president, through Great Society legislation, signed the Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act, and the Fair Housing Act, and desegregated hospitals in the South through the Social Security Act amendments of 1965. And last, Barack Obama, the 44th president that passed the Affordable Care Act, which has reduced racial disparities in healthcare. Trump passed a significant criminal justice reform measure. Trump said that America has reached a historic reduction of violent crime during his presidency. He said, I quote, "We signed a landmark criminal justice reform bill that nobody thought was possible to think about. I did that. I got that done." Back in 2018, December, Trump signed the First Step Act, which made the most substantial changes in a generation to tough on crime. Laws that increased the federal prison population by 700% since 1970. Now, since this law has been signed, more than 3,000 people have been released from federal prison due to the law's good time credits, which provide early release for well-behaved inmates. Hundreds have been released into the elderly home confinement pilot program, which places old federal inmates in home confinement before the end of their prison term. And more than 2,000 people, which 91% of them were black, received sentencing reductions because the First Step Act retroactively applied the Fair Sentencing Act of 2010, a law that was passed under Barack Obama, reducing the sentencing disparity between crack and cocaine charges. Now, even though Trump is trying to take full credit for it, there are a lot of areas where this act that he has passed, where it has failed. So, Catherine Ken reported for Vox, Trump's Justice Department, under Attorney General Bill Barr's direction, has attempted to block hundreds of eligible beneficiaries from being released and has tried to send those who have been released back behind bars. According to Sentencing Project, the department has tried to freeze applications or reincarcerate former inmates by setting higher standards for their release. Also, Trump has failed to mention how the bill was the culmination of several years of congressional debate over how to reduce the size of the federal prison population and maintain public safety, according to the Congressional Research Service. But the law that Trump passed is just a lower iteration of the Sentencing and Reform Correction Act that was introduced in Congress back in 2015. Basically, the law that Barack Obama passed. Also, a Stanford drug policy expert, Keith Humphreys, noted in the Washington Post that the law, it may let thousands of federal inmates out early, but more than 1,700 people are released from prison every day already before this act was even passed. So the First Step Act only equates to adding a few more days of typical releases. So I'm going to go into a little bit more depth about the Fair Sentencing Act that was passed under Barack Obama. The Fair Sentencing Act reduced the sentencing disparity between offenses for crack and powder cocaine from 100 to 1 ratio to 18 100-to-1 ratio. The scientifically unjustifiable 100-to-1 ratio meant that people faced longer sentences for offenses involving crack cocaine than for offenses involving the same amount of powder cocaine, which is just two forms of the same drug. And most disturbingly, because the majority of people that was arrested for crack offenses were black people. The 100-to-1 ratio resulted in vast racial disparities and the average length of sentences for comparable offenses. So on average, under the 100-to-1 ratio, black people serve virtually as much time in prison for non-violent drug offenses as whites did for violent offenses. The FSA represents a decade-long and truly bipartisan effort to reduce the racial disparities caused by the strict crack cocaine sentencing laws and to restore confidence in the criminal justice system, especially in communities of color. And also, there was another step that was added to have more fairness. In 2011, the U.S. Sentencing Commission voted to retroactively apply the new FSA sentencing guidelines to individuals sentenced before the law was enacted. This decision helped ensure that over 12,000 people, which 85% of whom were black, will have the opportunity to have their sentences for crack cocaine offenses reviewed by a federal judge and possibly reduced. Another thing that Trump has not done for the black community is when it has to do with law enforcement. So back in 2020, when protests was going on a lot due to the police shootings that has to deal with Breonna Taylor, the 26-year-old that was killed in her home in Louisville, Kentucky, Jacob Blake, the 29-year-old who survived after being shot multiple times in the back by a police officer in Wisconsin. Now, however, instead of supporting the Black Lives Matters movement, Trump claimed that the phrase Black Lives Matters is a symbol of hate and responded to the unrest by celebrating law enforcement, directing them to meet the protesters with force and violence. Trump also dismissed the Black Lives Matter movement repeated calls for police and criminal justice reform. So Trump did sign an executive order that called for more training for police officers and the establishment of a national database of police misconduct, among other actions, all steps that fall far short of the transformative changes that activists have called for. Now, Trump also made it clear when he tweeted, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts," focusing on the small number of people ransacking property and giving very little attention to the families burdened by police violence. Now, Trump has also tried to take credit for the reduction in violent crime nationwide, but he inherited the downward trend that has been in effect since 2000. Trump has tried to argue that because he expresses support for and honors police officers, supposedly unlike Obama, criminals have been less inclined to commit crimes. Now, however, researchers haven't been able to establish a link between rises in homicides and disrespect for the police. So another thing that Trump tries to give himself credit for is black employment. Trump claims that the black and Hispanic unemployment rate has been the lowest in history. Before the pandemic hit, the unemployment rate for black people reached an all-time low at 5.9% back in May of 2018. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics have been keeping track and pointing out that the decline in the black unemployment rate began when Barack Obama took office. Now, even though the overall unemployment rate dropped by a lot, the black unemployment rate remained high still. White people have found work more quickly overall, and the employment gap has persisted, even as further economic relief from the government remains nowhere in sight. And also, due to the failure of getting the coronavirus under control This made a very hard time for black people to even recover. Trump also failed to mention the kind of jobs that black people have. A Brookings Institution report found that black people are overrepresented in undervalued, low wage essential jobs, and in which they're more likely to pass away due to the coronavirus. According to the Association Press Fact Check, household median income was higher for black people before Trump got into office. Now, Trump, however, focused on the unemployment rate, but ignores other economic hardships that black people face, such as low rates of black home ownership and low black male labor force participation rates. Now, Trump has given himself credit for the opportunity zones provision included in the 2017 tax bill that he signed. While opportunity zones are supposed to encourage investment in high-need communities, according to New York Times report, the program mostly just benefited wealthy people in America, making the investments and haven't even proved to help under-resourced communities. The early beneficiaries of the tax breaks are billionaires and Trump family members for high-end apartment buildings and hotels, storage facilities that employ only a handful of workers, and student housing in bustling college towns. I'm going to go over a few things that was in this bill. So one of them was the household with incomes in the top 1% will receive an average tax cut of more than $60,000 in 2025 compared to an average tax cut of less than $500 for households in the bottom 60%, according to the Tax Policy Center. Now, the Trump administration claimed their centerpiece corporate tax cut would very conservatively lead to a $4,000 boost in household income. Now, new research shows that that is not true. People who earn less than about $114,000 on average saw no change in earnings from the corporate tax rate cut, while top executive salaries increased sharply. Now, rigorous research concluded that the tax law's 20% pass-through deduction, which was skewed in favor of wealthy business owners, has largely failed to trickle down to workers in those companies who aren't owners. Another thing that Trump tried to take credit for is the poverty rate. So Trump claimed that Black and Hispanic American poverty rate has reached the lowest ever in the history of our country, saying that he has reduced the poverty rate before the pandemic. According to the census data, Trump's claim is correct, but it also ignores the major disparities that remain. According to the data, the U.S. poverty rate was 10.5% back in 2019, the lowest since 1959. Now, when the data was first collected, Black people had a poverty rate of 18.8% and Hispanics had a rate of 15.7%. Now, Black and Hispanic people are overrepresented in the poverty population related to their representation in the overall population. So according to data, Black people represent 13.2% of the total population in America, but has a 23.8% of poverty rate. Hispanics has a 18.7% of total population, but a 28.1% poverty rate. And a lot of people are upset about this and are trying to figure out if Trump should really be given credit. Also, another thing that Trump tries to take credit for is for a number of people who have stopped receiving food stamps while he was in office. He claimed that 7 million people stopped receiving assistance through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. But experts say that the decline in food stamps enrollment is due to improving employment opportunities and pay increases, with enrollment decreases that began when Barack Obama went into office, according to the New York Times. But there's also a reason why we see a decline in food stamps assistance because Trump has tightened eligibility requirements. It was estimated that 700,000 people would be kicked off food stamps because of the administration's new strict work requirement. A federal judge recently struck down that requirement, calling it arbitrary and capricious. The last one I will speak about is HBCU funding. So Trump always liked to try and brag about how his administration has funded historically black colleges and universities, also known as HBCUs. Trump said they couldn't get funded. Nobody was funding them for years and years and decades. Nobody was funding them. This is so untrue because when Barack Obama was in office, the federal government invested more than $4 billion in HBCUs over 7 years. And also, while federal funding for HBCUs has been renewed under Trump's presidency, Trump has not publicly acknowledged that the renewal is the result of congressional appropriations. Rutgers professor and leading HBCU authority Mary Beth Gassman told Washington Post, I quote, Congress does all this work and presents it to him in the budget, and he could choose to sign it. This year, he held off on signing some significant STEM funding, making HBCUs beg for it. Trump has promised all kinds of things to HBCUs and has followed through on little. Under Trump, the White House initiative for HBCUs was moved to the White House and is quite quiet compared to the work under President Obama's administration. Now, also, I want to add this in according to the Brookings Institution report. Now, however, whatever economic gains that black people have experienced in the early years of Trump's presidential term have also been undone when the pandemic hit. More than 90% of black businesses that have applied for loans through the federal Paycheck Protection Program were denied. 40% of black-owned small businesses have since been closed. Okay, so that was all for the fact check, and I'm just gonna give my input on all this. And I will say it's embarrassing and it's sad that you have black people out here supporting Trump and talking about he gonna give us enough stimulus, he putting money in our pocket. Sweetheart, when do he ever put money in the black people's pocket? He don't like black people. And it's sad because you have so many people out here that vote for Trump because of money. Now, however, white people, they vote for him because he's racist and they support that. But I'm not even going to get into them. I'm just going to stay focused on the black people. Black people, they vote for him because of money. First of all, the man don't do nothing for the black community. Trump is a compulsive liar. This man lie all the time, and I don't know, it just seems like to me, some of these black supporters, I don't think they're doing their research on this stuff. When they be talking about, I'm supporting Trump, sweetheart, did you do your research? Like, are y'all not following politics? It don't seem like they are, because if they were, they would not be voting for him. It don't make sense to me. All money is not good money, and not only that, but like I said, he's not helping us. So it's like the things that honestly black people do, it really do pisses me off. Because y'all over here, and y'all would rather vote for a guy that oppress us. And we all know that. But yet, now, some of these black people that vote for him, they just might not complain about the issues that we as black people are facing in this country. But we deal with a lot of racism. We have police brutality. You know dang on well that we struggle the most when it comes to housing, finding jobs, everything. Like, and you mean to tell me you're going to vote for somebody that not even going to help us? It don't even make logic sense. That's the dumbest thing ever. I don't know what the heck is wrong with some of these black people out here, but it don't make logic sense to me. I'm not about to vote for somebody just because he said, he gonna put money in our hands or whatever. Bro, I'm not dumb. And another thing is sad is that, like, these black celebrities, okay, you have some that are not Trump supporters, thank God, and then you have some that are. And the issue that I have with a lot of these black celebrities that are Trump supporters, because number one, they have this thing of theirs that, oh well, I'm black and I'm rich, so they don't even care about their own community anymore. So the thing is that you have some of these black people that are Trump supporters, even though some of them came up from the lower income. Like for real, some of them came up on public housing, food stamps, didn't have a freaking dime in their freaking pocket, like nothing. And you mean to tell me when you get money, you switch up on your own people and you vote for somebody that don't even like you? It's dumb to me. Like, what? It's so sad. Like, I'm like, how the heck you don't care about your own people after you make it? Like, how that work? Because first of all, let's be clear here. These black people that are making billions and millions of freaking dollars, they are Trump supporters. Sweetheart, you got where you at because of your own people. And instead of standing here helping your own community, you over here endorsing a racist. What the hell? If you're not going to, be loyal to your own, then don't ask me for another freaking thing. Like, you ain't got to worry about me. Because I forgot to mention this, but Waka Flocka is also a stupid Trump supporter. I don't even listen to his music, but I'll just say this right now. I did mention Sexy Red. We all know Kanye West and Kodak Black and everything. I feel this way and for the other people that are black and support Trump. If you want to stand here and you want to hurt your own community, well, don't expect me to support you. And I honestly feel that way. If you're a Trump supporter, I'm not going to support your business because Sexy Red got her own like lipstick or lip gloss line. Don't support it. Do not support that crap. Do not listen to these people music no more. We're not doing it. If you don't want to stand here and you don't want to be faithful to your own people, you don't want to help your own people, what the heck am I helping you for? You over here endorsing somebody that will hurt me, that will take my rights away. What the heck? But because you got all this money, you think, oh, you somebody. No, you're nothing to him. At the end of the day, you black. And so I'm like, heck no, I'm not. Well, I don't listen to Sexy Red, Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, and I don't listen to them. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I won't ever listen to them ever a day of my life. You ain't gotta worry about me. I ain't going to no concerts, any business they made, whether they create their own shoe line, their own body care, whatever. Don't expect any dang on freaking money from me, because instead of you freaking endorsing this racist son of a gun, you could have been putting money in your own community. They could have been building hospitals. They could have been building schools. They could have been standing here freaking giving money to HBCUs. They ain't gonna freaking building a lot of freaking things. Y'all could have been building freaking communities. But y'all over here supporting the racists. What the hell? When we over here, we struggle the most. But you want to feed the hand that never fed you. That's some stupid right there. Like, that right there be pissing me off. I honestly cannot stand when I see my own people kissing the white ass. I cannot stand that mess. It pisses me off. I don't give a damn of, what stupid racist Trump said. I don't care. At the end of the day, he's racist. He don't care for us. So why are you overlooking all the racist things that he has said about black people over some darn money? You need money that bad? Money is not that freaking important. Y'all, some of these people act like, oh my goodness, these politicians gonna do so much for me. Sweetheart, there are so many people that really do not benefit from the system. Like, for real. I feel like some of these people rely on politics so dang on freaking much. Me personally, I vote, yes, all the time, no matter what. But I'm not about to stand here and vote for somebody just because they talk about money. I don't give a darn. Because I'm gonna be honest, I got where I'm at because I work my ass off. And also because of God, thank God. But I'm not about to stand here and vote for somebody just because they're talking some money. Like, I feel like some of these people, they act like Trump is going to get them rich. What, all these Trump supporters out here, please explain to me, which one of y'all got rich when he was in office the first damn time? So, if you didn't get rich the first time, what makes you think you're going to get rich now? The only ones that are going to be rich are the ones that are already rich. The rich get richer and the poor gets poorer. That's how it works. The Republican Party does not care about the poor. So I'm not understanding why on God's earth do we have these stupid dingy ass black people voting for Trump. You even got black people that's not celebrities. Like, you got poor black people voting for Trump. I'm like, what the hell? The hell wrong with you? Are you dumb? Sweetheart, he don't care about you. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny or nothing, but like, you have to work your way up. You gotta work, go to school, make something out of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't rely on these politicians. There are so many laws that I don't think people realize that are passed to hurt us as the black community. But there are so many things that a lot of these politicians, when it comes to governors, when it comes to the dang on president and the lieutenants and all this, you know, it's everything, okay? They pass laws to hurt us. So, me personally, you cannot stand here and expect to get rich from these politicians. That's not how this works. You can still vote, yes, but that don't necessarily mean you're going to get rich. And I'm not saying go out and vote for Trump. Hell no, that's most definitely not what I'm saying. But I feel like that's the sad part about, like, these people expect to get rich off of these dang on politicians. Like, they expect them to help them. Sweetheart, where the hell you been? You gotta get off your behind and you gotta work. That's how this works. A lot of people do not benefit off of the system. They do not. So I don't know what the heck is going on with these black people out here voting for Trump, but it's embarrassing. It is, honestly, it is truly embarrassing, and it is sad that these black people will hurt their own community. Y'all trying to bring us back. We already, been dealing with it freaking a lot. Our ancestors have worked so hard to get us where we are as the black community. And also, things that Obama has passed when he was in office. There's a lot of things that he has done for the black community. And I have said a few. So it's like, y'all trying to push us back. Like, what the hell? We're not trying to go back. We're trying to go forward. Because Project 2025 is going to push us back. And I don't even know if these Trump supporters out here even read that crap. Especially the black Trump supporters. Like, did y'all even look through that crap? But I don't know. Maybe they just too focused on the damn money. What money, sweetheart? Because they're going to try to take away overtime. Jesus. It's annoying. But honestly, I am happy about the rappers out here that are not Donald Trump supporters, that have spoken up. Honestly, I think it's I love it when I see black people, especially with big fan base, that are out here and they're actually, getting involved in politics and talking to their fans and everything about voting and making awareness about it. Like, honestly, you have seen a lot of black people out here that are at Kamala Harris rally. They speaking up. I'm like, okay, we got a lot of black people. And also at the DNC convention, like, you saw, it's so many black people. And it's like, that is what we need. When we see that as the black community, that we are targeted, our rights are targeted. It don't matter if you rich, middle class, or poor, which honestly, personally, I feel like there's no such thing as middle class anymore. But at the end of the day, no matter what, you are black. So if one of us is targeted, all of us is targeted. So I love how a lot of these celebrities out here that are black, how they are, speaking out about it and everything. Because I know John Legend, he has spoken out. I like him. I know Kerry Washington has, even though they're not rappers, but they're still black. Honestly, I've seen a really big improvement in black people being in politics. Black people, they really getting involved in this one because it's a very important election. This not the first, because we as black people been through this multiple times before. It's big like the other one when Trump ran, okay? And like the other stupid presidents that ran, it's big all the time. It's important. Every election is important. So please go out and make sure you vote, but also just make sure y'all educate yourselves on this stuff, like, for real. That is all for my episode. For my next episode, I will speak about Kamala Harris, the things that she plans on doing if she is elected as president, but also I will talk about things that Trump's planning on doing. So thank you everyone for listening to my podcast, and I hope you have a lovely day.